Hey everybody, this is Renae from The Space Between, and you are listening to The Space Between podcast, the show that lets you listen to how the fans feel about the music, the art behind over 30 years of the Dave Matthews Band. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Space Between podcast, the podcast where we talk about the fans of the Dave Matthews Band. Each week I bring to you a new fan of the Dave Matthews Band to walk us through their journey with the Dave Matthews Band. Now this band is celebrating its 33rd year in 2024. And whether you're a fan that has been around for a month, a day, or all 33 years, everyone has a different story of how they found the band and what was the hook that made them stay. So today we have my good friend, and I am going to let her introduce her. I'm so excited about recording this particular show because I've known her for a little bit. Of course, we met at a Dave Matthews Band concert, of course, and we shared one of 2023's hands down best shows maybe ever together in 2023. So I'm so excited to have you on this show. Tell us who you are, where you are, and how in the world did you find this band that we love so much, the Dave Matthews Band?
Hi, it's good to see you, Renae. I am Lorraine Babbitt. I currently live in Framingham, Massachusetts, but I am originally from Western New York, up near like Rochester, Buffalo. I'm pretty old, so I've been following Dave Matthews Band ever since
She's not old. She's not old.
ever since they came around. I believe I sent it in my message to you, but the very first thing I remember is when Ants Marching came out, and I bought the cassette tape that I put in this big, huge stereo I had. And it was probably like 5 feet tall. And I would like rewind Ants Marching and open, it had to have been like 20 folds inside the cassette tape that had all the lyrics. Yeah. And I was just so happy, and I was in my element, and I know every single word to that song now because I was just sort of like I could read it and know.
Right.
So I'm not exactly sure what year Under the Table and Dreaming came out.
Somewhere in the 90s.
So
we'll give, somewhere.
Some friends will tell you that I listened to them long before that. But yeah, I mean, Ants Marching was kind of really what hooked me into my obsession, I guess you were.
What was the sound like? What was it about the music that made you listen harder and pay attention? What was it about it? Because, this was the 90s. We're in a decade of grunge. What were you listening to before the Dave Matthews Band? And then again, what was it about this band that hooked you?
The grunge era for sure. I mean, I thrived on Nirvana, Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
Grateful Dead. That was my first concert ever. So to hear the music from the Dave Matthews Band, it was a little more upbeat. And I was also, I guess I could kind of relate it to Russ and Root a little bit because I listened to them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And also Stone Temple Pilots, but
such a good band.
There's just something about the music and the way it's really hard to put into words. It's the way it just it kind of like frees your soul and your spirit, and
yes, I think those are the perfect words. Actually, you just did it. You put it into words. I mean, frees your soul, frees your spirit. I mean, I think a lot of people will listen to those words and identify with that and be like, yes, it does that and so much more, right?
It does. And, I think about listening to Nirvana and, you know, a lot of that stuff is all about death and doom. And Dave Matthews Band is so, again, upbeat and sing songs about happiness and joy. It was just completely different. So it's just stuck with me ever since.
Okay, so you've discovered the band and you've heard them. So what does the time frame look like for you from the time you hear them and go, okay, yeah, I really like them. I dig what they're saying. The music is amazing. How long did it take you from that point to see them live? And I'll say this before you give me your answer. That answer is such a broad answer for every level of fan, because, you know, a lot of us in the 90s were busy, right? With like, and even going into the 2000s, families and marriage, you know, just a lot careers that had just started. And so taking off all of the time to go see concerts was probably a lot more challenging than it is now and in our wise age, right? But like, how long did it take you to get from hearing them and loving them to seeing them?
So my very first concert was in June of 1996, and it was at Darien Lake. And I'm sure all DMV fans out there know of the website antsmarching.org. So we're all considered ants. I know people question that a lot. Like, what does he call us? Dancing Nancy's, fire dancers. What
are we?
We are technically ants. Anyway, if you log into that website and you create an account, you become an official ant, and it will give you the statistics for every single show that there has ever been. So when I log on and it shows my shows that I've been to, there's the very first one I went to has a red asterisk underneath, and it says the show started late due to heavy traffic. The traffic was so bad. It was literally at a standstill. And I said to my friend, I said, you know what? There's like 2 miles left on the highway. Just give me my ticket. And
oh my God. Did you
I
start
literally
running?
walked down the highway. Now, remember, you know, I come from like, you know, as a teenager in the grunge era. So I have, you know, like my hippie skirt on and, you know, maybe flip flops or something.
Yeah.
So I have my ticket. And
yes.
the people are like saying, yeah, like out the window of their car. I mean, handing me drinks as I'm walking down the highway. Then I get,
that's hilarious.
Oh yeah, but it gets better. So then I get to the toll booths and I'm like, well, crap. What do I do now? I climbed over the fence.
No. Well, that was before cameras, right?
Well, yeah,
so what were they going to do?
In a skirt.
Oh my God. I wish there was video of it. Honestly.
I do too. I mean, I you know, I remember like finally getting into the stadium and just being in total awe, because I had general admissions and people back then were like heavy on the rail. Like, this is my space. You can't be here. Everybody just kind of roamed around, and it was just such an amazing experience and such a great feeling to see them all up on stage, you know, Leroy.
Right. So you said this was 1996?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. So, I mean, you've got all the original band members. What stuck out to you your very first show? Like, because I mean, you had the fiddle or the violin or what I mean, you had Leroy. You had something that a lot of us never saw. So what was that like for you? And like, did you have favorite parts of the show? Or, I mean, like, are you the kind of fan that's like 100% watching Dave no matter what? Or like, do you have a favorite side? Like, tell me what your concert style is, or at least what it was then. And then we'll talk about what it is now. I'm sure it's changed, but what stuck out to you that night?
Leroy.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's hard to put into words. It's just,
Yeah.
hearing the sounds that would come from his saxophone and hearing his sounds that would come from the saxophone, and then just and the violin as well. I mean, he did what he did, we assume he did what he did, and it's a shame because he made such wonderful music. But I have a painting downstairs of Leroy that a friend did for me after he passed away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you send me a picture
I didn't,
of that?
but I can.
You can't. And so, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can literally see the picture she's talking about right now. Right now. A lot of people say when they were, people that were able to not only see Leroy, but, have now seen without him, and the sounds are the same. The music is, the songs are the same, but the way each play, the way Leroy plays, the way Jeff plays, both beautiful, both amazing, both top of their league, but different sounds. Would you agree with that?
I totally agree with that. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. There's it just astonished me what people can do. Because this is a whole game that I wish I could play and win at, but they're like, if you played me a recording A and recording B, one's Jeff, one's Leroy, I can tell you which is which. I was like, damn. That's pretty good ears. Do you I mean, like, I don't think I could do that. Do you feel like you could do that? That's tough.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to do that. I'm not 100% sure on that. But you know what? Maybe.
Right. But they do sound different. They do sound different. And I think their styles are different.
Maybe tomorrow I'll give it a try.
Both are beautiful. Yeah. Hey, there's a game for everyone listening, right? Play part A, part B. Well, you gotta have a friend with you though, because if you play it, you're gonna know which one it is. So get with your closest D&B friend. Here's the new game. See if you can pick the person that's playing saxophone. So he's what caught your eye. You think that night, that's kind of what you took away. If you were talking about him, you were saying, damn, that saxophone had me.
Oh, for
right?
Sure.
I mean, oof. What a night. And I've heard Darien Lake. Is that connected to a Six Flags?
Yes.
Okay. So it's a really cool area. I've never been there.
Only been once.
But I have another friend. His first concert was there. Oh my God. It might have been the same year. It was right in there. That would be wild if it was. I'll have to go back because he was on the podcast, another show. And he said his first show was like in the 90s at Darien Lake.
Wow.
I don't know.
Could be.
Wild, but I know. So how long did it take you to do the second show?
3 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Ended up moving to Massachusetts and I had my first son. So, you're busy, you're working, you're taking care of your child.
Course.
My older brother was living in Connecticut at the time and he called me up and he was like, hey, you want to go see Dave Matthews Band this weekend in Hartford? He's like, it's going to be lawn. And I was just like, okay, sure. So so back then, so this is 1999 now. And back then, Dave Matthews Band played for 3 nights in a row in Hartford, Connecticut.
What?
Yeah.
What? 3 nights?
3.
Damn. Bring it back. Right?
Well, I mean, have you been to Hartford?
No, I just mean like the 3-night part.
Yeah, I know. It's maybe a different location.
Not Hartford. Okay, so let's talk about Hartford. I've never been. Tell me about it.
So it's a lot of fun. People get a little crazy. And the particular night that we went, the 1 out of 3 nights, there were riots after the show. Oh, yes. People were flipping cars over, setting things on fire.
Hello, everybody. This is Dave Rich from the Eddie Casino Band out in Las Vegas. We're really excited to get this journey going, celebrating our music, our original music, on all platforms. We just released our first single over Labor Day weekend called Eddie Casino. If you're looking for new music, look out for our next single coming out to Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Apple Music. These guys in the band are really excited to get started playing music for you all. If you like Tom Petty, Zach Brown, Jason Mraz, Dave Matthews Band, Rob Thomas, Jimmy Buffett, Pink Floyd, Stapleton, Bare Naked Ladies, Goose, Billy Strings, Sting and the Police, a ton of influences that we bring to the table. Hope you enjoy our music and look forward to seeing you soon live on stage.
What do you know? What were the riots about? Like, what
Just
was it about?
people who were intoxicated.
Oh, okay. So this was actually fans that left the show and then decided to do
it
all
was
of this?
after the show.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Oh my
So
God.
it's very interesting. So every year in Hartford, there's always something. There's always something.
Really?
So if you
Wow.
go into one of the newspaper articles, you can literally find all the information about what happened during and after.
Do you feel like it's that area in general, or was it the fans of the Dave Matthews Band coming into town and tearing up the city?
I think
what
it's
was
both.
it?
I think it's both.
Oh, okay.
I think it's also underage drinking.
Sure. Sure.
A lot of people don't realize how much alcohol they drink sometimes, and they're not staying hydrated with water
Sure.
or eating food. And
Oh yeah.
At least maybe 1 year there was probably 50 ambulances. It was insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's Hartford.
Wow. And so that was your second show. Maybe not the best experience.
Well, I mean,
probably didn't match your first one at all.
We were on the lawn, so we weren't really. We didn't see the people rioting. It was just on the news. The next.
Okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because my brother lived 10 minutes from the venue.
Okay. Wow. That's crazy. So here we are, 1999. Yep. So you found them in 96, right? 90. Wait, is that what you said? 96, 99. So we're a couple years in.
My first show was in 96. I found them way before then.
That's right. So how does it evolve? How does it, because I mean, I know you, I met you, 21, 22. When did we meet? Sometime in the 20s, right?
Oh my gosh, now I gotta think about it.
Did we meet in North Carolina? Yes, we did. Okay, that's a wild story because here I am, a girl from Arkansas, traveling to North Carolina to see the Dave Matthews Band. But then I'm gonna throw a meetup in a city I've never been to. And I did it, but I'm so glad that I did because you showed up and I met you, and so I'm so thankful I did it. But yeah, that's where we met at a meetup in Charlotte, North Carolina in 2019.
Yeah, it was, yes.
Yeah, 2019. Because, oh my God, that
was the best year.
It was a good year. I don't know if it was the best year, but it was a great year. Why was it the best year for you? It was the best year
for me because I won a meet and greet before I came down to North Carolina.
Well, holy shit. Yes, it was. Yes. And I want to talk about that, but I know we're going to get way out of order if we do that now, but listen, stay listening, guys. She got a meet and greet with Dave. And so we'll have pictures of that and she'll walk us through that. So let's go back to 1999. You've got some small children. Life does get harder to step away for a couple of hours with small children. So how did you keep your fanhood going?
Okay. So from 1999 to 2009, was a 10-year hiatus for me due to marriage, another baby. But my brother would gift me with any albums that were currently released. Then in, I think it's May of 2009, Jay took me to Fenway Park.
Oh my goodness.
And that was my first show back. And
wow.
Yeah, that was before, it was right before Big Whiskey came out.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about intoxication. So the funny thing about this is that concert is probably the most drunk I've ever been. But I think when I'm kind of over intoxicated, you can't really tell because I'm aware that I am. So I try and like really, really hide it. So right outside of Fenway Park, there was this bar called Tequila Rain. And right before the show, we went in there to get one more drink. And they had this big, tall, like frozen daiquiri and probably drank it in like 20 minutes.
Uh-huh.
And so we go out of the bar and he's like, Jay says, I'm going to go back in and go to the bathroom real quick. And so I'm standing on the street corner of Lansdowne Street. And all of a sudden I see two streets. And I'm like, no, this can't be good.
Oh,
I'm like,
shit.
Can't be good. This can't be good. And Jay comes running out, takes my hand. I can hear them start playing, and they open with Rapunzel. So this is the crazy thing, is that I can remember all this stuff.
Yeah. And yeah. I mean, you're lucky that you remember it all.
I'm very lucky. And I just remember like watching them and listening to the music, and they played Seven for the first time. And it was like, but
so you were there the first time they ever played
I'm not
Seven.
sure if it's the first time they ever played it live, but it's the first time I had ever heard the song. I had never heard it.
Got it. Oh, wow.
So I'm like, that's a lot of I love yous. I'm like, what? I love it now.
I love you. I love you. You. Yeah.
But I will not lie, and I will say the very first time I heard that song, I was so confused, and I was like, what in the world? I'm like, what is this? I'm like, this is Dave Matthews Band.
Right. It's different, but man, is it a powerful song. Like once you get to know the lyrics, you're like, oh, fuck.
Now I know why.
Yeah. Now I know Mr. Matthews would. Yeah, now I know.
I got it.
So good. Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I'm getting hot and bothered. I need a drink right now. Woo! That's Seven. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God.
That was
sorry, off topic.
That was a fun evening.
Oh, I bet. Wow, what a great show to be at. Now, was that your husband's first show? Like, what is like you said, he took you there. So was it something that he was kind of like, I know that you like this, so let's go? Or was he already in? Like, did he like them already?
He had went with me to Hartford. But before we were together, like when I went to the show in 96, he saw them that year too, but he saw them at the Horde Festival.
Oh, okay.
So.
Okay, wow. So, I mean, that's cool that, I mean, ultimately you found another Dave fan to marry, and that's important, right?
Yeah. I mean,
it worked out for you.
I'm sure he doesn't love him as much as I do, but.
I've seen him at a concert before. He looks very happy to be there, but definitely not as happy as you look to be there. It was like cloud nine, like Jesus is here. Everybody, I'm so happy to be here. I could feel it. It was so good, but also it was SPAC. And so I don't know, like, what is your favorite venue? I mean, you've been to gosh. Oh, you sent me your stats. You sent me your stats. You've been to 69
That's
shows.
right.
We go from 7 to 69, just like that, right? In your story.
Snap of fingers.
Boom. So 69 shows later.
Yeah.
First of all, can you even believe that?
No, that includes Dave and Tim as well. It's not just Dave Matthews.
And that counts.
So,
that counts. Yeah. Let's talk about Dave and Tim. So that's typically something that people see after they're fairly well established with the band, I'd say, for the most part. So what led you down the road to go, okay, I want to see Dave in a more intimate setting, of course. What kind of led you to Dave and Tim?
Well, the year that they decided to not tour, was it 2016, 2017, somewhere around there?
Okay.
Dave and Tim did a show at SPAC. But I just got ahead of myself, because the intimacy with Dave and Tim is, I took my mom to Vegas in 2009.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. So it just was a whole different kind of good feeling. And
now your mom's a fan, right? Is that what you're saying?
My mom was a fan. Yeah. She would call me if she heard, the Space Between playing at the grocery store.
Oh, yeah. You needed to know.
She would buy pictures of him and send them to me. So my mom passed away 2 years ago, and
I'm so sorry.
And a month after she passed away was our first trip to Mexico. So we had never been to Mexico before. So it was quite emotional for me. Very more emotional when Buddy came out and they played When I'm Weary. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, that kind of, hit me in a spot that probably no other song ever will.
What's up, everybody? This is David with the Dave Matthews Tribute Band. We're a nationally touring tribute to DMB, playing shows all over the country and beyond. Our goal is to bring you back to the classic sound that you fell in love with in the 90s and the 2000s, featuring a violin, saxophone, and maybe some keyboards sprinkled in as well. You can find out information about all of our tours and shows by visiting thedmtb.com. You can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram and other socials by searching the Dave Matthews Tribute Band or the DMTB. Hope to see you on the road and enjoy the Space Between podcast.
Of course. And every time you hear that past that day, it's going to bring back all those emotions and feelings.
Yeah. Yep.
And in a way, though, that's sweet, though, because, that will forever tie your mother to something that is so near and dear to your heart. Because, your mom is near and dear to your heart, but to have those ties, it's pretty amazing, I think, to hear something and think of your mom. I feel like that's such a beautiful story.
Yeah. And also, I would say A Christmas Song and Loving Wings. He played those. He played those in Vegas when I took her. So it's nice to, put Spotify on and pull those songs up, and
wow.
So we had a good time.
Yeah.
And we had some good memories.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's talk about Dave and Tim. And I know we're all out of order, but you know what? That's okay. That's okay. It's a good story. But let's talk about Dave and Tim, because that is something that, you know, we're coming into, and I'm not for sure when this episode will air, but maybe even just getting through with Dave and Tim. But like, what do you think it is that keeps people going back? Because it is an expensive trip, you know. There's the airfare. I mean, like, there's getting there. It's a foreign country. Like, it's kind of a big deal to go to, no matter where you're coming from, unless you live in Cancun. But even then, it's still a big deal because it's such a big deal. So, what do you think attracts people now that you've been there? You've done it. You've seen it. What keeps people going back to that?
Oh, this would be our third year. For me, it's the music. I mean, I can't speak for everybody. It's definitely,
of course,
definitely.
Well, yeah. What keeps you going back?
It's definitely just the sound. It's the music.
Yeah.
Most of the people around you.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fun activity, you know, the activities during the day, like at the pool, they have the live music, and you know, it's you're at a resort. People,
right.
Staff brings you whatever you want all day long. So
who doesn't like that?
Who doesn't want that?
Exactly. And then you have Mr. David Matthews there, and it's like, I feel like I'm in heaven right now. Like, I got somebody bringing me drinks. It's warm and it's freezing back home. And then you've got Mr. Matthews sitting there singing a song and telling me stories. It sounds amazing. I mean, I see the attraction. It's, and you know, we've even said that on the dreaded day that I don't like to talk about, one day when this band is no more, for whatever reason, whether that's health reasons or, hey, you know, we've been going for 35 years. We're tired. We have grandkids now. Like, we want to do different things. We think that Dave will always have some form of Dave and Tim, right? Like, I don't think that he'll ever not be singing. I think that that's something that he will be able to do forever, as long as his, you know, body holds up. But like, I see him doing things like that even past Dave Matthews Band, because he is he's like a magnet for attention, right? Like, not only can he play the guitar, he can sing, but he's also funny as hell, right? And like weird. And most people are attracted to that because he's not like anybody else, right? Like, there's not another performer that I would see and go, you know what? Well, actually there is. There was a guy. Did you ever watch American Idol?
Yeah.
Like, or do you watch American Idol? There was a dude, Philip Phillips.
Oh, yes.
That I believe he won or got close or whatever. But like, he was the only person I've ever seen that I was like, you know what? Everything about him reminds me of Dave Matthews. Like, his mannerisms, like his quirkiness, the way he played the guitar, the way he sounded. Like, but there's not a lot of people like Dave Matthews. So I think that he will forever be able to attract a crowd. And I think that he could forever do little setups like Cancun, and people would pay money, big money to make it happen. I think he's for real got a career forever, whatever that looks like. But so you're going back to Mexico this year?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is your third year. So you're going, you really love it. And does your husband feel the same way? Or is this kind of just like, my wife loves it?
No, he loves it too. We're
Good.
both already packed. We just have to
No way. And we're like, what, 20, 29, 30 days away you probably know how many days away we are. 20 something days.
29. We leave on the 5th.
29.
We leave on the 5th.
You're packed.
I'm packed.
You're on the what day? Which
15th.
day? Okay. So right after Valentine's Day. What a great gift to give to someone, right? Like, I love you. I'm going to take you to Cancun to see Dave and Tim. It's amazing. Okay. So let's go back to your story though. So
to bring up Vegas one more time, and to also talk about, you know, not only meeting you, but some of the most amazing people I've met along the way. So this concert in particular, I have a quick story about
Yes.
Well, so I used to smoke cigarettes, and I had a layover in Chicago coming from Boston, and I went outside to have a cigarette, and I saw a guy walking towards me, and he's got a fire dancer hat on. So I said, "You wouldn't happen to be going to Dave and Tim in Vegas, would you?" He's like, "Yeah, I am." And so I was like, "Cool." And I'm like, "Let's go inside. It's like 0 degrees. It's cold."
Yeah. Let's go talk about Dave outside.
So it turns out he's on the same flight as me.
Wow.
He was in the military. He was taking a break to meet his brother in Vegas. So we spend like 3 hours in the Chicago airport. So his name is Zachary Pack. His brother's name is Eli. And then like a few months later, he moves to Arizona where my parents live.
Wild.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's just so many people I've met along the way, but
so many people. And I feel like that's, well, at least for me, and obviously, like, I love the family around this band so much that I started a podcast about them, right? Like, I love this part of the band, and I share in that love with so many other people because it's a real thing, right? Like, it really is a real thing. Not only do you get the music with this band, but you get all the relationships of the other fans. If you're willing and accepting and you want that in your life, it comes so easily. So let's just kind of talk about that for a little bit. I mean, you met someone in the airport, but how has the fans around the band changed you, like impacted your life, and has it made you fall more in love with the band?
Oh, for sure. I mean, meeting you, for example, I went all the way down to North Carolina, and my friend was late, and I happened upon your meetup. So I walked
Yes.
I walked like a mile and a half down the road to get to the restaurant, and like
thank you for coming.
like the 110-degree temperature.
Oh, it was so hot that day.
We couldn't even tailgate outside of the car. Remember, we were sitting in front.
Oh my God. Yes, oh my God. So bringing back so many memories. We sat outside. I don't even drink beer, but it was so fucking hot that day. I was like, yes, give me a beer. Cause it was so hot.
So I met you, and I met Karen.
Yes, Karen.
And then I met Karen again a few days later in Alpharetta. So I was kind of
no way.
So I was
She's amazing, by the way.
I was kind of all over the place down there. So
the way you should be, right? Like, I always joke that Dave is I don't joke. I guess at this point I'm dead serious. The Dave Matthews Band is my travel agency. They tell me where to go, and I just go there. And it's never turned out bad for me. Like, you'd think, okay, I'm going to go to Rogers, Arkansas, or Oklahoma, or like, somewhere in the middle of Indiana in a cornfield. To most people, that sounds insane, right? Like, oh, okay, yeah, let's vacation down in Arkansas. But no, Dave can turn any city into like the best city with the best people and the best music. And so like, it's a party no matter where he's at. And because of him, because of the band, we've gotten to see so many parts of our country. And so what are some of your favorite places that you visited to see the band? I sounded so country right at the end. See the band.
Yeah. I mean, Alpharetta was pretty cool because it's very small and a little more intimate than other what do you want to call them?
Like venues?
Yeah, venues. Yeah.
Maybe?
That's it.
I don't know. Yeah.
Sorry, I've been up for a long time.
No worries.
Another great place was Charleston, South Carolina. It was so inside, nice. Thank God, because it was also like 110 degrees that day.
Oh yeah.
And then
so you've done a lot of East Coast. Have you done West Coast or the middle of the country? Oh, you went to Vegas, of course. Have you done West
I have
Coast?
not.
Ooh, goals,
Yes.
right? Goals.
2025.
Yeah.
Maybe this.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
yes.
maybe this year.
Yes.
Maybe we can.
You never, that's one thing you just never know. I feel like you probably have the same kind of reasoning, like, or whatever, like, I'm probably going to go to 2 shows this year. But then, like, if somebody calls you up and they're like, hey, we got a hotel, we got you a ticket, you're going to take off and go, right?
Yep.
You're going to go to Arkansas and see a show because you got a free ticket in the hotel.
Well, if
you are coming to Arkansas, by the way.
Tour dates come out and he's playing in Arkansas, I'm coming to Arkansas.
You are, because it's going to be amazing.
Justin misses me too, so.
He does. He misses you. He does. And oddly enough, so if you've never listened to this podcast before, Justin is my husband, and he actually was with me, which is rare, honestly. The way I do Dave Matthews, and it's rare for him to be with me because somebody's got to hold down the fort, right? We got 4 kids and jobs. Like, he's like, okay, babe, I'll stay back. You go. But he was in Charlotte that time because I have family in North Carolina. So he was with me. And so, yeah, you met him from the beginning. Yep. And he loves you. He has never met your husband. And I did have, have I met him only once at SPAC this year? Was that the only time I met your husband?
I think so.
I think in person, but for a while he was during COVID. I think he was doing like the
piano bar,
something on Facebook, like where he was playing the piano. Yes. And it was amazing. It was amazing. And so I feel like I know him just from that, because I was tuning in however, often during COVID, watching him play, and was making me smile. So he's great. He's great. And so yeah, we need to get the boys back together again.
Yeah. He's talented as well. So.
He's so talented. Yeah. So yeah, he comes from, he is a musician. So does he appreciate the band differently than you? Like, is he looking at different things, or do you feel like y'all are pretty like, okay, we're looking at the same thing? I'd say for the most part, people do look at different things, but what's his favorite thing about the band since he is a musician?
Probably that Buddy joined.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's great. And also a pianist, right?
Yeah.
Like, or keyboardist. He's an organist, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, he's it's his whole vibe. There's just something special.
Yes.
Very, very special about Buddy Strong.
Everything about him. Yes, there is. I don't think I've ever seen him, and I've met him, which is incredible. And he smells so good. And I know that's inappropriate, but I'm just going to say it. And like, one of my girlfriends literally told him, like, oh my God, you smell so good. And he just said, thank you. But like, he smells good, but also he's very nice, very genuine, smile from ear to ear. It's rare to see him, or I've never seen him where he just wasn't like, full on, so happy to be here, ready to put on a show. I'm about to just set this whole vibe, right? Because he does. He just like, you can see the vibes coming from his body. It's just like contagious happiness. And he has added a whole different level of amazingness to this band. So I can totally appreciate what he appreciates. Yeah. I'm just not a pianist, but yes. Buddy's amazing. I'm so pro Buddy. I love him, not only because he's an amazing musician, but because I feel like he's an amazing person. I don't know him personally. I'd love to get to know him personally, but like, he seems like an amazing person.
He
right?
does. I would love to meet him.
Ooh,
yeah.
He smells really good.
I've heard.
I'll say it again. He smells
now
great.
Now I
don't know what kind of cologne that is, but like, yeah, now I'm giving you a goal. Like, next time you see him, just be like, hey, what kind of cologne?
I'm going to have to go walk the streets of Saratoga for 2 days.
You never know. You never know. So guys, because this podcast does have limited time, I want to encourage you guys to check out the YouTube side of this. So Lorraine has sent me so many amazing pictures of her journey her fanship with this band. And so I want you to be able to see these pictures and videos that she sent me. So be sure to check out the YouTube channel. It's simply just the Space Between podcast on YouTube. And so you'll be able to see more of what she's talking about, pictures with her mother, pictures, when she went to Cancun, pictures of her and her husband, and some other special moments that have happened throughout all of these years. So be sure to check out that. Now, before we end, and I hate to end because I feel like we're just getting to the good stuff, but I do want to talk about 2023. I do. I think it's important because I did meet you in 2019, but honestly, like right now, when I think about you, I'm thinking about us standing in the lawn in a sea of what seemed like a billion people.
I think it's like 40,000 or something like that.
It was so many people.
I was able. You were with Johnny. You were just standing there. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm just hanging
I
out.
I was going to get another drink, or you would never be able to find me because there's so many people.
It's gosh, it was crazy. And this was my first like SPAC time to be there. So I had no idea what I was doing. So I was thankful that I found you, but thankful because you were kind of like my tour guide. You were like, hey, we've got a spot down here. Let's go. And then you take me to the little spot and we stood there. And so this was, of course, night one. And if you guys are not familiar with the 2023 tour, that's okay. I'm going to tell you what happened at this concert, because if you are listening to this and you are familiar with the 2023 tour, I think that SPAC Night 1 is going to stick out in your brain because people haven't quit talking about it yet, even though, it was a long time ago till now. We got... I want you to talk about it. This is your story. Talk about some things that stuck out to you from night one, SPAC 2023.
Well, I mean, finding you in the sea of people, and then being able to find our way back down to where we were where we were camped out. It's just always a good time.
It is a good time.
I will have to.
Do you remember we're both standing there? And I remember, so we're in between songs. I don't know what song had just played. I don't have the playlist or the set list pulled up, but
he opened it.
Oh, okay. No. Well, we're standing there. It's quiet. And all of a sudden, I hear just a trinkle of a few notes. And in my brain, I think I know what it is, but I'm like, no, that would never happen. No, just totally dismiss my thoughts. So I keep listening. And I'm like the weirdo in the crowd I remember there was a lot of college aged kids around us. And so I'm sitting there so focused, I'm at church. I'm like, okay, what does he have for us? I'm ready to receive the message, I'm like, okay. And it keeps going. And I'm like, no, that's not it. But fuck it if it wasn't. American Baby intro. So beautiful. And I believe that SPAC Night 1 was also the night that during that song, he screamed through that song and gave this wail that was well over 10 seconds. I remember at some point someone said, the cry that he was able to push out of his body during that song was fucking amazing. And I just remember being in awe at that moment. I knew exactly why I was at SPAC, because everybody was talking about it, right? That was the concert you had to measure up to at that point, right? I mean, do you remember hearing American Baby intro and being like, is this happening?
That, yes. And him opening with the stone.
Yes.
You don't get that very often.
So good.
So good. And then, of course, my favorites, Big Eyed Fish and into bartender.
Oh, yeah.
So
I was going to say, did we get a fish tender that
we
night?
did get it.
We did.
We did.
Ooh. And if you don't know, if you're listening to this and you're like, these girls are talking about fish sticks on their podcast. Well, we're not. We are actually talking about a combination of two songs. So the Dave Matthews Band has a song called Big Eyed Fish, and they have a song called Bartender. Well, I just lost my train of thought. When you put those two together, what do you have? You have a fish tender. And that sounds crazy. But that's what the Dave Matthews Band fans call it, right? I can say that in confidence. Yep. Yes.
Tender.
Yes. So now you've learned something on this podcast. A fish tender is not something you buy in the frozen section at Walmart or your favorite grocery store. It is, in fact, something that you get from the Dave Matthews Band on rare occasion. It's happening more often, but like when it happens, people lose their shit in the crowd. They do. They love it. And I love it. Two really good songs, but two, I don't know. And they're just so very completely different. Like I like Big Eyed Fish because of like the way, and I'm not like a musical person. Like I don't know how to talk about timing and stuff of songs, but it's just kind of different to me. Like it sounds like nothing else sounds like Big Eyed Fish. Not to me, not that I've heard. Yeah, it's different. So it sticks out in their songs, and it's definitely not a radio hit. You know, if you've never heard of the Dave Matthews Band, but you do know like Crash and Ants, or you've probably never heard of Big Eyed Fish. It is. Would you consider it a deep track? Is that considered a deep track? Or no? I just never know where that line is.
I don't think so. I think maybe Bartender would be, because that was never a radio hit.
I don't think so. It's so hard to remember the last 33 years, but
I think maybe
so.
Some people might see deep tracks for their own song preferences. So like I love Drunken Soldier, and we got that night too.
Yes, we did. God bless, it was a night.
Granny. We got the two-step as the encore. So for a deep track for me, I would consider Bartender a deep track for sure, and Granny.
Yeah. It's so hard for me to draw the line of deep tracks, because I think you and I both can say we're in a situation where like we've probably heard of almost everything that they've ever produced. And so like to us, it's just like, oh yeah, okay, I've heard that. So we're so far out of whatever normal is. We don't know what is a deep track anymore. We're just like, I hear that every day. Well, that's not real life. Growing pains of being a Dave Matthews Band fan. I guess. Just we know everything, but that's not true. I mean, if 2023 is one of those years that proved to even the oldest fans that we don't know everything, right? Because this band is still coming out with incredible new music that's relevant for the times. It's never been a better time to be talking about things like the monsters in your head, right? Because it's just recently which is also a Dave Matthews Band song, but not where I was going. It's just recently that it's become okay to talk about mental health, to talk about things that we're thinking about, right? And so what a great time for a song to come out that talks about, the monsters in your head. I just feel like this band is staying so relevant, right? They're just so damn good. They're so damn good. And I don't know why. I'm going to ask you that. Why do you think it is that there are so many negative thoughts and people that just hate the band? Why do you think that is? I can't understand it because I'm so in love with them. And so I'm kind of blind. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm not really 100% sure. Because I'm like you.
I don't know if there's an answer.
It could just be they are more into like maybe heavy metal or rap, a different form of music in general. I would think.
Right. I mean, it's crazy because like I love this band and there's a lot of music I don't like, but that doesn't. At no point am I like, I think those people are awful. I hate it. Their fan base is dumb. Like I just can't understand people's take on the Dave Matthews Band because, you know, again, this is part of what this podcast is doing. But like, if you Google the fans of the Dave Matthews Band, did you know that you will not find that many positive things? I mean, you will see stuff like, yeah, they have a good, they have a big following. But when you get down to like details about them, most of it's negative. But a lot of that negativity is from the 90s, the early 90s, right? There's not really been an update on, hey, all those fans grew up. All those fans grew up, right? And are doing amazing things.
And you know what? Like
because of
it's like Dave says, it's still all the same fans.
35,000 of us, right?
All the time. He's like, what?
It's a small group of great people that no one likes. And I'm okay with it. Like, it's an inclusive club. I love it.
I'll stay in it.
I'm a for lifer. I mean, I wish I had a certificate or like a button. Somebody needs to come up with a pin that's like for Dave Matthews Band for life. Like it would just be like a club. Like we've got the pin, we wear it. Like we're part of the club.
People we can talk to.
Yeah. Who doesn't need another pin, right? Like, oh yes. There's so much good swag.
Yeah, you got to mention the corner of Gray Street here. Sorry.
Oh, they're so good. Yeah, no.
Shout out to Jamie and Bonnie.
I hope that. Gosh, they're great. They're so creative, and yeah, that just there's so many amazing people behind this band, and I know that that's true for probably every band in the world. But you know, obviously, we're dissecting the Dave Matthews Band, and it floors me every day, the generosity and the love that the fans have for not only the band but for each other, really. And I think, unless I'm just completely naive, I see for the most part a group of people that really do want to leave a legacy of love and kindness, and that's really all they're after, right? Like we're after the music, that's the hook, but otherwise we're just really wanting to be loving, caring people. And I can't imagine that somebody doesn't want to be part of that.
You know, like if you see, you know, like the love signs and the love pins, that's for the Matt Wadley Love Foundation.
Yes.
So there's, you know, there's the tailgate caravan. So shout out to Christine and Kevin Reich for that. Because they,
you know, I was just saying, if anybody knows the tailgate caravan, I'd love to have them on the show, right? Because that's a big part of the fan
absolutely.
Group. So if anybody's listening, hook me up. Thank you.
I'll let her know. I'll let her know what's going on. I'll actually be seeing her. Yeah. I'll be seeing them in April in Berlin. So,
well, oh my God. So yeah, let's briefly talk about that. So you're going to Europe 2024. Oh my God. Are you excited?
Yes. I've never been to Europe before.
This is the first time. Yeah. So like with, you know, outside friends and family that are not necessarily Dave Matthews Band fans, when they hear that you're going to Europe to see the Dave Matthews Band, what the hell are they? You're like?
Crazy.
You really just lost your
You're crazy.
Mind. Yeah.
You're flying all the way to Europe to see Dave Matthews Band? I'm like, yeah, but I'm also going to see countries.
And right. Yeah, I mean, like it's a 2-for-1. It's
just a bonus.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited for you. Oh, there's going to be... Well, we'll just have to have you back on the show after Europe to talk about your experience, because of course that's not something that the band has done. You know, it's not something that they do every year. So I think, you know, so many people will be interested in hearing your story, so that for the next time the boys decide to go overseas, maybe it'll be like, you know what, I heard that story and she had a great time. I want to go next time. So we'll definitely have to have you back on the show. You've got so much history with the band that I feel like we need to book you anyway. We'll rebook you anyway so we can continue your story. But I can't thank you enough for being on the show and for doing all that you do for the community, showing up at those, pre-show parties, even when you don't know anybody. And a girl from Arkansas is hosting a party in North Carolina, which sounds fucking crazy, but you showed up, and I'm so glad that you did, because now you're in my life and in Justin's life. And really that's what this community is about. We're all hooked because of the fantastic music that these boys are producing, but also, it has been one of the best ways to meet lifelong friends who really do love what you love. And so it's been amazing for me. I hope that your experience, and it sounds like your experience with the fans, have been the same. And so I can't thank you enough for all that you do, and that I know that you will continue to.
Oh, well, thank you for having me on the show. And I'm so glad.
Absolutely. Well, definitely.
I'm glad you planned that meetup.
Thank you. I really am too, because it's so funny. It's so funny. I look back on that and I think how stupid that
Absolutely
was
not.
to just throw a party. But I'm so glad that I did, because every single one of those people that I met, and it was just a small group of us, but it couldn't have been more perfect. I literally have the picture of us all in my bathroom. It was a weird place to have it, but I do. And so it was like my first little posse, and I'm still friends with every single one of those people. And so it's been amazing. So I'm so glad that I met you, and I'm so glad that we've continued to be friends, and that you're on the show to share with everybody your passion for this band that we love so much.
Well, thank you.
Yes, you are welcome. So guys, again, if you are listening to this on your favorite podcast app, just know that you can watch this on YouTube. And I encourage you to watch a lot of them on YouTube, because you're going to want to see the visual side of these stories. The fans are sharing pictures and videos. Engagements have happened, pregnancy announcements. So you definitely want to check out the YouTube side of this so you can check out all these amazing things. But in the meantime, stay tuned. Every Friday, we have a different fan on to share their journey with the Dave Matthews Band. But in the meantime, guys, peace, love, and Dave Matthews Band. We'll see you next Friday.